Hey guys, welcome to my, not my first video, but one of my first videos. I just wanted to go over an event that happened to me about a year ago that really changed my perspective on the topic of life and death. You see, I've never really had any loss, like close loss. I'm not talking like aunts and uncles or distant relatives. I'm talking like your mom, your dad, your siblings, or your son or daughter. Like, I've never had that, and thank God, to this day, I've never had that, or experienced grief over someone's death. Like, I'm talking, like I said, I'm talking like real grief. Like, I've never had that, and I've always considered it to be something that happens to other people. Like, it would never happen to me type mindset. If you've ever had that, oh, that would never happen to me. You don't think it, it's just subconscious. Anyway, it's kind of like the mindset that you would never get cancer, or you would never be in a fatal accident. Like, that would never happen to you. I think Vsauce talked about it, where it's like, all good things happen to me, and like all bad things, happen to other people, not me. Just get that away from me. It's not part of my reality. Like that guy who has fucking limbs chopped off from a fucking forklift. Anyway, the story I wanted to talk to you guys about was when I first moved away from home. I was completely anxious and alone too. I moved there for university. It was actually really hard to find a place, so I settled with this landlady, and I had like roommates, of course. One of whom was a Brazilian. He was pretty chill. I didn't even get to interact with him like at all. But yeah, like, I moved in and I was fine. It was nice. I was still settling in, but my first evening, I hadn't slept even a single night, mostly because I just moved in on that day. The landlady came down and made us some dinner, which I can't cook. I can cook like toast and beans, so it was really nice to get like a nice full meal. But when she called for my roommate, he just wouldn't answer. He eventually came downstairs and acted like really confused, like he was looking for something. And side note, my roommate can't speak, or my one day roommate, this guy can't speak English. I found out later he's really bad at English and it's hard to understand him. But when he was downstairs, he was acting all strange. He looked around. He was like looking in the bathrooms, getting up from his chair, getting down from his chair. He didn't even touch his food at all. Smiling really weirdly, really creeped me out. And I just thought maybe this is just normal. Like, maybe he just goes in the bathroom a lot, but from the look my landlady gave him, like, that was not the case at all. It was definitely not like a normal part of his routine. So at this point, she called her doctor friend, and her doctor friend came over and said, I think it's time to call the ambulance. So ambulance came and took him away, which was pretty shocking actually, especially on my first night. The next morning I heard news that he was in a coma and was on life support, and this shocked the fucking shit out of me, man. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know, like, why did this happen? Like 8 hours ago he was fine, and now he's in a fucking coma. The diagnosis was unconfirmed until like a week later, so I didn't know what he had, or was it like drugs, was it like an illness, like for a week. and no one did. The doctors had a really hard time diagnosing it, for some odd reason. I don't know, like this. Yeah, I don't know. They did all the scans. They didn't know what he had. But yeah, he's in a coma. He was, and then like a month later, he was confirmed like basically brain dead on life support, and his sister and her friend came over, just to say their last goodbyes. Like, he was dead basically. The week later we found out he had meningitis, which, for those who don't know, is a brain disease. It is contagious usually, but this case was not contagious. So, like, we were really, really thankful for that, because at first we just heard meningitis, and I googled it, and I was like, man, like, everything's infected, man. I'm gonna get this too. I'm gonna be dead soon too. But then later it was confirmed it was just from like trauma to the head. Like, his brain got injured and then infected, and then he got meningitis. So that's how that happened. But while his sister and her friend were staying with us, I just had this like surreal mindset. Like, really, it was really eerie, because I'm using like this dead guy's toothpaste, and I'm like, I wasn't living in his room at the time, but like I'm right next door. He was there, he was there for a year. Apparently, he was living with us, with the landlady, for a year, with no qualms. Really chill guy. I think he was in his like 30s or something. So that was a strange time. Rest in peace to this guy. Like, my first night, this guy, my roommate, dies, really didn't set a first impression, especially since it was my first time away from home. And this isn't to take away from all the great times I've had since then, but just a really just not a nice situation all in all. And honestly, I felt it was just incredibly unlucky that it was my first time leaving my home. And also, what I got from that was, you could trip, you could fall, you could bump your head the wrong way, or get run over by a bus, or, get shot if you live in America. Anything like that could happen to you at any time. Like, you could literally you could do it to yourself. You could literally kill yourself by accident, and people do. And thinking of this and actually seeing stuff like this happen, meningitis, apparently the symptoms are pretty known. Like, a month in, it's really rare to die from any of it, because you can get it fixed, because if you know the symptoms, because they're pretty hard to ignore. But any of these things could happen to you. I guess that was the first story of my first, or that was the story of my first roommate ever. That's all I'd like to say. Thanks for watching.